chat, please go ahead and say good morning. And I'm super excited to have my special guest on this morning to help us wrap up Accelerate90. Can you all believe that it is December and we have made it through almost the whole year as a group, and we've done a pretty incredible job. Before we jump in and get some great sound advice from Mike Golden, I do want to acknowledge just a couple of things. And that is the fact of, wow, all of us agents out there, everyone who has been working in the @properties team for over a year, I want to just give you a huge shout out because we have navigated a lot. We've done it as a team. We've gone through all different things. We've gone through getting adjusted to the NAR lawsuit. Then we got adjusted to all new forms, right? How we needed to make sure not only did we understand what was going on, but then making sure we could really advise our clients and make sure that our buyers and sellers felt super comfortable with all of the changes that we've navigated. And I just want to say we've done a pretty great job. Each and every one of you has just done it with, I know a lot of us were nervous, but we all kind of just jumped in and continued to navigate. And what I'm so proud of is that, we're kind of starting to come out on the other side. And I really feel like, wow, you all are taking this in stride and not only just maintaining your businesses, but truly really starting to excel, with a lot of the success stories that, we're hearing through Accelerate90, but even just in talking with so many of your managing brokers out there. So I just want to say how proud I am of how we've all accomplished what we've needed to so far through 2024. So on that note, I do kind of want to touch on Mike. What do you feel like you're most proud of? December, I always feel like is a month of kind of reflection. I'm always shocked when we get to December so fast, but it's really sort of saying like, wow, let's just kind of take a look at what we've done in this past year. What are you, you and even collectively Thad, because I know you two talk all the time, but what are you most proud of kind of looking at this year of 2024?
As always, I think the thing that we are most proud of and most grateful for is our team, and that would include you, Amy, for all the hard work that you and your team have done, but really not just, I mean everybody. If you look at all of our team, our leadership team, all the staff, all the support, everyone has worked super hard to try to deliver as much service, as much value to our entire sales team out there as possible. But I'm also incredibly proud of our sales team because they have continued to excel in, maybe what was not the easiest market in the world. We know the last 2 years have been tougher, 2023 and 2024, the hangover from the COVID craziness in higher interest rates and everything else that went along with it was tough. And the thing that I am just the proudest of is how well everyone has buckled down, has really engaged with our training, our coaching, all of the leadership, all the things that you and your team have done for everybody, and has really overperformed the market. And for us, that's all we can ask for. I mean, we are all subject to the market and market conditions, but the thing that we can do the best, and I think and work the hardest on is making sure that we are putting ourselves in the best position possible for the success of our business and for our clients. And that's what our team has done clearly this year. If you look at our results across the board, our offices have done well. If you just look generally of how we have compared to our competition, we've excelled, and that's what's most meaningful to me.
Yeah, and I feel like it's really been teamwork, from every aspect. I mean, yes, it is leadership, it's coaching and training, but just even our agents, honestly, I feel like being willing to, even just show up. And there were a lot of changes thrown at our agents on how to say things, how to present things to clients. And I just feel like we really came together as one cohesive unit, even if there were times where people were worried or nervous. And I think that the strength in us coming together is really, I think, what has allowed us to continue to be so successful moving through this time. And I just think it's pretty incredible. And I think
and when you and not to interrupt, but like when you take a step back, I think that the engagement that everyone had, everyone on this call, everyone here had, particularly with the massive market, the massive industry change that we all went through, and just how well our team was prepared. Like I said, when I look back at how well prepared your team and our training, our coaching, the support team was in really helping everyone navigate, which was what I consider a seminal change in our industry. I mean, I will be in this business now 30 years in
Wow.
April of 2025. And I've seen a lot of changes over my almost 30 years. And it's great that I started when I was 4.
That's
But
right.
yeah, they made a special license exemption for me. I was like one of those prodigy, real estate children. No, but I mean, when you look at how incredibly well our team prepared everybody, and then just how all of every agent out there really engaged and really embraced the changes and the support that we gave them, but also the fact that we had to hold the line on commissions. We had to do things that were maybe not 100% comfortable for everybody, and yet we did it. And if you come out now that we're coming out the other side and we're seeing what's happening, we've been able to maintain our commission levels. So everyone out there, you're all maintaining your income, which was the most important thing to us. I think that that's the thing that's most important to understand, is that for us, and everyone knows splits are high in our business, so the majority of money goes to all of you. And our goal was to make sure that you maintained your income levels, because that is because you deserve to get paid for the service that you provide. You 1,000% deserve it. You just had to make sure you believed in it, because we believed in you, and it's proven out that we have not seen our commission levels go down at all. And because people value the service. And we talked about this a lot. You're going to have 2 different kinds of companies out there. You're going to get companies that just say, you know what, I'm just going to do it cheap because I don't believe in my service, or I don't provide a high level of service. Or you're going to get our team like ours, who provides the highest level of service and the highest level of value, and people recognize that you deserve to get paid for that. And we've been able to prove that out. So I want to thank all of you out there for that, because that was I think the hardest thing that we all had to go through, and everyone has managed to gotten through it incredibly well.
Yeah, I mean, and I know you've had conversations with a lot of agents, too, just kind of anecdotally as you've been in offices. What do you think agents should be focusing on, as they're wrapping up this year, 2024? I know one of my biggest things that I always say is, the month of December, kind of this holiday season, it's more man to man, woman to woman kind of combat. You're at holiday parties, you're seeing people, so it's a great opportunity. But, if an agent were to ask you, what would you say right now are some critical things they can be doing just to kind of, plant that foundation as we move into 2025?
Well, I'm a little bit of a broken record on this, Amy, but I
Have a
am
plan.
always about having a plan. Like, if you don't have a plan, you're kind of screwed. So, if you haven't dialed in a plan for what you're going to do next year, and what you're going to do in January, what you're going to do in the first quarter, but really, you should have a plan for the entire year. Whether you work with our business planning folks, or you just make sure you map out, okay, what am I going to try to accomplish? Set some goals for 2025, because if you don't have goals, it's hard to achieve them, because you can't achieve goals you don't have. But I think it's really important that you've laid the groundwork for next year. And then, as you said, listen, the next month is kind of I don't know, December always whips by. I always think, it's the holidays, it's going to be relaxing, it's going to be quieter, and it never is. It's always super busy. But just be thinking about, okay, you don't want to make everything about business, but when you're out there and you're interacting, whether it be with family, with friends, you should be at least talking about, your business and about what their plans are. And you don't have to do it in such a way that it's about you. You actually want to do it in a way that it's about them, where you talk to people about, okay, hey, what's your plan? Ask them what they're thinking about for next year. Ask them what their life plan is. People love to talk about themselves. So you get people to talk about themselves, and you will learn from them. God, I'm thinking about getting married, or I'm thinking about getting divorced, or I'm thinking about getting a new job, or something, or I'm just thinking about moving because I can see interest rates I think are going to come down, and maybe not as quick as we thought, but they're going to moderate some. But there's going to be more inventory. There's going to be more. I mean, we have been in the lowest volume market we've seen in decades. And now I think is an opportunity for us to see more business pickup. So you should be talking to people, and just like I said, not like saying, hey, you're going to sell your house or you want to buy a house this year. More about what's your plan? What are you thinking about? Like, what's going on in your life? That will allow you to have the conversations to get to, wow, you're thinking about moving or you're thinking about buying a house this year. That's great. Hey, and then talk about it with them.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great opportunity too, as you're interacting with people, to use those Ford questions, right? Family, occupation, recreation, and dreams from Ninja. Those are the things that kind of prompt those conversations that then get you further into, Mike, what you're talking about, which is the conversation possibly of real estate. And the other thing too about it is, it may not necessarily be a conversation for somebody where they are looking to buy or sell, but their house, if they own it, is odds are their largest asset. And one of the things that you can do to always add value is be that person that helps them to make sure that if they are thinking about remodeling a space or want to do new landscaping in the spring, you should be that conduit to who are they hiring when it comes to the things that are maintaining their home. That's how I think you increase your value to them, because then they're going to be calling you all the time, not just when they're thinking, ooh, we might want to make a move, right? It's during the period where you're actually building value into that asset. So a lot of the conversations you might have this holiday might be just about that, but think about how those things can plant the seed, because not only do you want their business, but you want their referral business, right? So I always love this time of year, because I just think it gives us a unique opportunity to be in front of a lot of people. There's a lot of conversation around, the holidays and parties and different things, and that's going to tee up. You may not necessarily have that conversation specifically that night at the party, but it gives you the reason that in January you're going to follow up and reach back out, right? So I love just the idea of having a plan and kind of being strategic about it. And I think the more strategic you are, then the less salesy you are in the moment, because you're thinking about how you're going to approach these conversations. So I want to ask you a big question. Crystal ball. I wish I had my magic 8 ball, that I've used so well.
Take it up. You're shaking it up.
But 2025, we are past the election. Things are kind of moving along regardless of who anybody, voted for, things are moving along in that direction. What do you think is going to happen with real estate next year? And specifically, kind of in the Chicagoland and Michigan, Indiana, like what are we going to be seeing, and where is there going to be opportunity or benefit for our agents?
Well, listen, first of all, I think, from my point earlier, that if you look at the average number of sales that happens in the United States in a year, I think the average, when you look across history, now it goes up because obviously we have more households, but low 5 million should be sort of our run rate at this point, and we've been like 3.9 million households. So I think there's a huge opportunity to see more inventory and just more transactions next year, because people have to move. Like things change, life goes on. So I feel like there's a great opportunity in front of us for 2025, that we're going to see more volume-based business. And I don't see much opportunity for prices to go down a lot. I don't think you're going to see this crazy uptick, and you'll see moderation in some areas. But I just think that I believe that the next couple of years are going to be strong in our market. 2023, 2024 have been light years. Now there's a few reasons for that. Obviously, interest rates went way up, but we also had this crazy, the COVID craziness that basically took the pipeline and sucked a lot of buyers out of the future into like 2021 and early 2022. And then we saw the big drop off in like mid 2022. So we've had 2.5+ years of a kind of a down cycle. And that's kind of normal. We have cycles in our world, but then when the upcycle comes, you have a nice kind of climb out. I don't want this. I want nice gradual climb where we as professionals take advantage of it. But if you ask me, I think we're going to have a very strong market for the next couple of years, but particularly 2025. There was also, because of the election and because of all the uncertainties in the market, I think there was an unusual amount of people that jumped on the fence and said, I'm going to sit on the fence here. I'm just going to wait to see what happens. But for all of you guys who were at the expo, if you listen to that economist talk, throughout history, over and over again, it kind of shows, it doesn't really matter who wins in terms of the presidency. It's more of just getting through it so that you have the finalization, because people don't like uncertainty and you want the certainty. And also, we've seen the trends too, that typically there's an uptick in the real estate market for the year to 2 years after the election of a president. So for me, I'm a huge optimist that we've got a great opportunity in front of us. So I think being prepared, making sure that you are dialed in and ready to go. If you've been frustrated or you've been hibernating, it's time to come out of hibernation. I see Rich in our Pat just posted December is the start of the spring market, and I agree. While maybe traditionally, obviously, the sales don't usually get started until February or early March, but it's that preparation. It's thinking about getting your house ready for sale. It's getting your house on the market. It's showing it takes time. It's like a ball rolling downhill. It takes some time to get that momentum going, but it is starting now. And even though the holidays are a slower time in some ways, to your point, there's a lot of conversations. And the more that you can do to create value for yourself, and I think you made a great point that it's not necessarily about the person you're talking to who's going to buy or sell a house, but they may have a need. And if you can help them, be their consultant, anything you can do to create value that's not a part of the transaction. Because obviously when you're helping them buy something, you're helping them sell something, you're directly in the transaction. So that's an easy one to show your value. But if you can show value to your clients and show them that you're more of a consultant, sort of a life consultant for their real estate needs, as opposed to just handling a transaction, that's not only going to help drive business from them over the long haul, that's going to drive referral business. That's going to say, hey, God, I worked with Amy Corr in my house. She has been so helpful. Even though I bought my house from her 3 years ago, she referred this person to me. She checks in and makes sure I don't need anything. She reminds me of things that I should be thinking about in terms of being a homeowner, like, make sure that you're doing this, doing that, whatever. Like, you create that value, and people then they remember it and they think about it and they refer you. And that's obviously that's the goal, is to build your business through your relationships, because as we all know, relationships are everything.
Yeah. I mean, and I kind of have this feeling that January, like it's going to be like a hop fast start to 2025, because I do think, to your point with the election, and I think it was when David Childers came out to all of our different agent summits, he talked a bit about how the market just delays when there's an election year. So a lot of the flurry that we would maybe see in October, November, December tends to push back about 60 days. So I feel like we're going to suddenly see some of the delayed fall effect maybe into early January. And the other thing that's interesting about where we live, if all of you remember, I forget what year it was, but sometimes the weather can play a huge part also about what people are doing. Because, if suddenly we get a huge snowstorm, I remember we had like a really delayed spring market one year because it was maybe the polar vortex, because literally people didn't know if their house was going to crack in half because it was so cold. So they waited until after that. So, there's different dynamics at play, but let's say given, the weather isn't anything that would hold us up, I do think January and February are going to be really busy. But that means that people are thinking about it now. So what I want to hear is in the chat right now, how many of you feel like you are working your pipeline right now, knowing that there's going to be opportunity coming in early January and February? And the thing is that there are a lot of people that take their foot off the gas. So we want you to enjoy the holiday season, but I think if you are actually thinking about it now in December, you're going to have an advantage over your competition. Look at this. Lots of people who are.
I'm seeing a lot of thumbs up. Any thumbs down? If anyone's being honest, if anyone's thumbs down, you reach out now. We're going to help you. You got to go now.
Yes. Does anybody have a question for Mike as far as his predictions for next year? I agree. I think that we're going to have, it's going to be a different year. I think we are going to get more inventory in the mix. I think we are finally seeing people, what are our thoughts on rates, Mike? When are we going to see some real movement on rates?
Well, it's interesting. If again, you just follow the news. I am not an expert, but I read all the articles. I think that there's trepidation because of some of the policies that they're talking about in terms of rates. I think that those policies could actually help the real estate industry in some ways, but they may keep rates up a little bit longer than we thought. Rates will come down. Could be a year, could be 2 years, could be 3 months. I mean, no one can predict for sure. The conventional wisdom out there is that rates are probably going to stay higher a little bit longer. But again, like life just continues to happen and the pipeline has to refill. We can't kind of stay at these levels and rates aren't that high. I mean, if rates were like, we were like in 1980 and, or what is it, 82, when rates were 16 or 17%, I'd say that could be a little bit of a problem for the marketplace. But, rates in the, mid sixes to seven, low sevens range is kind of a normal market. Like it's sort of like I think that's the historical average over the last, what, 30 years or something. So I do think we're going to see rate relief. I don't see rates going up, but I at least not right now. But rate relief might take a little bit longer. But again, it just creates more opportunity. And then, we can go back to the, buy the house, marry the house, date the rate. The longer that it goes, the more that we know that rates are going to come down at some point. They are absolutely going to come down. The Fed is continuing to say they are committed to easing. They just want to be gentle about it, or I forgot what word they used. But so I would expect that you'll continue to see rates come down, but maybe a little slower. Like maybe there won't be 4 rate cuts. I don't know if there'll be one in December or not. There's still talk that there will be. Maybe instead of 4 next year, there's only 2 or 3, but you're still going to see rates ease down, and we'll see mortgage rates moderate down. But I don't think that's going to really stop the market that much because they
It
have come down
hasn't
some.
really. I mean, there's buyers out there ready to buy. I think the market is stalled more because there isn't enough inventory for these buyers who are willing at these rates to lock in. Because I think the other thing too is that now that we've had rates where they're at for a good, 18 months, maybe even almost longer than
No,
that.
longer than that, more like
Yeah,
2 years.
2
So yeah.
years. Like, hello, the people who have the 3% rates, like, no one knows that now. So the new normal are these rates that people are operating at, getting pre-approved at. So Karen on here had a great question. She was just saying she's working with clients who are concerned about the tariffs causing inflation to rise and the expected increase in interest rates. Mike, I know you had said you don't think rates are going to go up, but I also kind of feel like, but we've been dealing with inflation and with interest rates for the last 2 years. And my thought is if they want to buy, like be the ones to buy, because if other people are concerned, it doesn't create as much tough competition in the market as a buyer,
Yeah, I mean, listen, the tariffs will be interesting to see what actually happens. There's a lot of talk about it. I think that we're going to see tariffs in some areas. I think that once the new administration gets in, maybe I'm the eternal optimist, but I think there will be some self-control. There will be cooler kind of heads will prevail so that you don't see this spike of inflation and you don't see interest rates jumping way back up again. I just don't think that, I think that will get managed pretty well because that can be controlled. So again, maybe I'm just more of an optimist, but I think that rates coming down as fast as we were hoping to is probably not in the cards like right now, but I don't think you're going to see all of a sudden rates going flying back up again. I think that there'll be reaction and control of that if it happens, would be my gut, because again, you can control a lot of those pieces a lot quicker. What happened before with the rates is we dumped, it was all the stimulus that quite honestly came from everybody. So you can't really blame any one person on it. All the stimulus came in, threw so much money in the economy, and it just drove inflation up. But the inflation came after the act was done. When you think about something like tariffs, they can be moved and changed much quicker, which can move things a lot quicker. So I just feel like it'll be controlled a little bit better.
Yeah. Well, with your crystal ball, we're just going to have to wait and see what 2025 actually becomes. We can play this video 12 months from now and see how we did. So on that note, we are going to wrap the year of Accelerate 90. I cannot believe it. And I want, Mike, one word or statement of motivation. If you're talking to every agent out there, what are your parting words as they wrap up strong in December and get ready for a great 2025?
First, I want to thank Amy Corr for doing this in 2024. No, I mean, you know what? All these things, all these little things mean a lot to me, to everyone on this call. So you should feel incredibly good and proud of what you've done here. In terms of motivation, I would say, I don't know if I have one word. One word's really tough. But I would say, being present and being available. is who will win the day. We always joke that showing up is such a big part of our business, but really like being on top of the details, being available for your clients, being ready for what we think is going to be a big market is the most important thing. Is like get ready to work, because 2025 is going to be busy, and the people that are willing to work hardest are going to make out the best. So my advice would be enjoy December, lay the groundwork, get some sleep between Christmas and New Year's when maybe it's a little quieter, and get ready to hit the ground running hard, because it's going to start fast. I agree with you. I think it's going to start fast and hard.
I love it. All right, my friend.
Amy Corr is a rock star. I agree.
Thank you. All right. Well, I'm going to make sure that I fill my cup up this December, because I'm going to be right there with all of you this coming January. We've got lots of great things in our pipeline for all of you to continue to support your business. But we just appreciate you joining the Accelerate 90 program. Our team thanks you. Mike, thanks for being our final interview of the year.
I'm privileged. I felt privileged that you wrapped up with me. I was, my feelings were hurt that I wasn't invited early this year. I was like, wow, everyone else is on but me. But now,
best for last, Mike. Best for last.
Yeah, or pity, one way or the other. Either way, I'll take it.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, on that note, you all make it a great holiday season. I'm sure I will see many of you. I hope you're all going to the holiday parties, because I will be there. I think Mike's trying to go to many of them as well. But let's have a little fun as we wrap up December, because we've got big plans and big things to accomplish in 2025. So Mike, thanks again.
Thank you guys. Yes. Thank you guys all. We appreciate you so much. Enjoy yourselves. Have a little fun, get ready to hit the ground running, and be, like me, be grateful for each other and the relationships we have.
That's right. All right. Bye, my friends. Make it a great Monday. Thanks, Mike.
Happy Merry everything.